All right, we're going to talk for a couple of minutes about how to measure bolts. Now, this may be something with which you're already familiar, but I want to go over it just for you to be able to keep in mind how to properly measure bolts. For example, if your foreman tells you that he wants you to go get some 3/4 by 2 inch bolts, and you can't tell what a 3/4 by 2 inch bolt looks like just by looking at it, and there will come a time in your experience when you can actually do that probably. But if you have to actually pull out a tape and try to measure a bolt and figure out how long it is, then there's a couple things that you need to know. If you're going to measure a bolt, you want to measure that bolt from the inside or the bottom side of the head, and the end measurement is the end of the threads. So you stick your tape in here, measure all the way out to there, and that will tell you what the actual length of the bolt is. Whatever that measurement is, that's the length of that bolt. If it's 1 3/4 or 2 inch or 2 1/4, that's the length of the bolt. So you have then a 3/4 inch diameter by 2, for example, bolt. Now when you're adding to the grip, and I guess there's a couple of things I should say here. This is called the shank right there. So that's called the shank. Then the threads. Overall, that's called the grip. So the hole is called the grip. Now then, when you add a nut and a washer, for example, this is a 3/4 inch nut and washer. So the whole addition to the grip there, between there and there, is 1 inch. Now, if it's a 5/8 bolt, then the addition's going to be 7/8 of an inch. As I said, 3/4 is 1 inch, and then 7/8, you're adding 1 inch and 1/8 with the nut and the washer, and then a 1 inch nut and washer adds 1 1/4 inches. So just some things to keep in your mind. So then that helps you figure out, for example, how long a bolt that you need for a specific condition. Realize, say, for example, if you have 2 3/8 thick plates, the connection plate's 3/8 of an inch thick, and say, for example, the web that the connection plate is connected to is 3/8. Well, 3/8 and 3/8 is 3/4. To that, you're adding 1 inch. So now you're up to 1 3/4 inches. Then also, you're going to need a little stick out there when you finally get done. So up to maybe 1/4 inch more. So then you end up needing a 3/4 by 2 bolt to satisfy the condition of the circumstance. When it comes to TC bolts, something that you want to remember, once again, you're measuring from the inside of the head, but now you're measuring not to the end of the spline. You're measuring to the end of the threads. So make sure when you take your tape and you say, I want to figure out how long this bolt is, stick the end of the tape on the inside, go down here to where the spline breaks off, and you can see that seam right there. So where that breaks off, that's how long the bolt is. And that should help you to be able to figure out bolt length and how to measure bolts.